Okay. So we use these events of, and we need to assert that the method allow is called. So documentation, it's called, sorry. I need documentation, I just forgot. It's called, it's not return value, it's okay, sorry, I had this lapses. It's called expect once. You will expect once a call to the method allow with the parameter or the list of parameters, in this case only index. Okay? Can I zoom out? I'm doing it. Well, let's go to our browser again and see if it works. It doesn't. Okay. We have mock auth component enabled. Well, this is okay. We need to mock this too. Here in the auth component, set the enabled variable to true. Let's see if it works now. Yes. We have tested that our index method is allowed by the auth component to all users and guests. Do you have any questions so far about mock objects? Really? Any? What if I call the auth component like, hey, give me the current logged in user? What is going to happen? Okay, let's change our index function to only look for the currently logged in user events. Okay? So we have here in paginate, we will add conditions. We add another condition called user ID. User ID should be this of user ID, which doesn't have much sense right now because we are allowing everybody to see this action. He won't be, not all users will be logged in by then. But I'm doing this to explain to you how to mock other functions and return values from functions from a mock object. Okay? let's go back to our test. In our mock here, we need to call this of set return value of method user to user1 when it's called with the param ID. And let's call the actual index action now. Okay, I'm just going to refresh here. Just case, sorry, it's events index. Okay, we have more problems. They usually happen because controllers had all this stuff all around, variables in params, this data, etc. You need to mock them all. If you are using it in your action, you need to mock them all. So the first error is undefined index URL, and that's fine because we have just mocked. We haven't mocked at all these params. We need to. First thing in our test should be action index, and we need to mock the URL. And it is action URL. Usually URLs have the URL key nested. We can put anything here, like my events, events index, for instance. Our problem is array merge is not an array. Well, we can sort them out. Okay, that was easy. Just mocked a few params from our controller, and it's passing again. So I haven't actually tested anything here. But as I refresh my view, I could see what queries are being done. We're looking for a select with a condition with user equals user1, right? And I think this is it. So we have a hint that we actually mocked the auth method. So the only thing left here is testing that actually it works, that the correct event is sent to the view. I'm going to take this from here and put this right here, this way, and it will assert that events view vars events. The first event is this one. Are you guys following me? Okay. Let's go. It works. Okay, so we have a way to test controllers that is not that hard. Just you need to provide the correct information for your methods. If your methods are using params, you need to provide those params. If your methods are using components and you don't want the component to actually do the real stuff, you need to mock these components. Okay? For example, you don't want to the request handler to send headers, for example. So you would need to mock the header function in request handler to stop sending headers, because As our tests are web-based, sending another header will break your test suite. Okay? We haven't tested only that it sends the correct data to the view, but does it render the correct view? We don't have actually an example of this. Well, we have. Let's create a test for our day function. Okay? And just doing this events starts a process, and this day no params for now. I'm just only going to test that it renders the index view. Remember, day doesn't have a view, it renders the index one. And as you may remember, we had a manual mock for our controller. And if it's called render, it will store in a variable the redirect action, the name, right? So we do this way. We call day, and then it's events day. And well, we're not calling render directly, so we're not going to use this variable. We are going to see another variable that will tell us, yes, the correct view will be rendered. And this is events param section. Sorry, I will just debug to see which one it is. And it is action here. The action was changed. So these params action is changed. I'm going to assert equal that the action was changed to view, to index. If your actions call directly the render method, it will call this one. But as we don't do this, we are not going to use it. Okay, let's see if it works. It doesn't. It says equal expectation fails, null, does not match string index. Why? Okay, we need to define some variables there, like this one here. Sorry? On the events controller, doesn't it just set the attribute action, not params action, but action? Probably, yeah. You're right. Yes, it is. I'm going to zoom this in. Do you have any other question about testing controllers? We have another thing left, but I would like to hear your opinions on this, your concerns, doubts.
I'm going to ask what I think other people are going to think,
Okay.
which is, why would you want to go through all this trouble? I want you to make the case for them and a little bit for me, because I find that I don't test as much as I should.
Okay. Could you raise your hand, the people that see values in testing models, at least? Okay, that's great. Well, controllers are not just tricky to test, but they need a lot of maintenance, because each new request that the client sends will need a change, most probably in controller. So they need attention. But this is the only thing we have in Cake, except for Selenium tests, that will actually serve as an integration test. If your code does this magic stuff in your model, yes, it's safe. It does what it said it does, but it does not render a view, your client won't pay you. Your boss will be mad, and this stuff. So it is as important as testing models, because it's another level of testing. You're testing integration of all your models all together, and you're testing the layer of your application that actually interacts with your users. So it is important to test this stuff.
What are the advantages of testing at this level versus testing web testing?
How do you web test?
Well, simple test has a web test piece.
Like clicking?
Yeah, it pulls the HTML file as an actual HTTP request, parts of the result.
What, using what program?
Simple test or something.
Okay, yeah, it does. What I just told is that you have this one, and you're testing here traffic control. Okay? Given this input, what output is sent to the view? And you can also test what is rendered to this view. How will client see this? You can actually write Selenium test for this. It will assert things like there is a button on the coordinate 44, 55. Okay? So you can actually write tests for each of the Cake layers, for the model, for the controller, and for the view. Here you can, if you like, do a render, grab the result, and do some testing on it. Like there is a pattern there that has an H2, and this H2 contains the title of the view, for example. You can do simple things like this, but you need time to do it. And if you like, you can. I like testing views using Selenium. It's a lot more difficult, but it pays well. Another question?
You mentioned Selenium.
Yeah.
What is that?
Okay, Selenium is a framework for testing, for the automatic testing using a browser. You write a script for your browser, and your browser does actually move your mouse and click stuff and test that things work. And finally, it sends the result. Now I got was redirected to this page where I was expecting this one and all this. Or there wasn't a button there to click. Or I clicked, but it didn't submit the form. Okay? And there is a wrapper for Selenium using simple test. Do you have experience with web testing? Yeah? Okay, it's another way of testing. I'm not covering it today because it takes time to write all these patterns, the pattern matching. Have any question? Okay, the last thing I can test is redirection. The most simple example of redirection is when doing an add. I will provide data for this add action, and I will test that it saves the event and redirects me back to the index view. I'm going to copy these lines here, change the action, provide some data, sorry, let me take a look at the event action, the add action. Okay, we use this, so we need to mark it. Okay, we use off, so we need to mark off. Back to the test. I will mark it in a minute. I'm going to remove this here and just pass the title. And a description. And a date. And time.